Hello guys, Nexas here and welcome back to Destiny 2, and in today's video guys we are here with a banger of a freaking build. This is going to be a PvE build, but we are going to be showing you the Way of Thunder build, and it's going to of course be with the Vesper of Radius. Now if you don't know, the Vesper Radius did get a buff recently, meaning that instead of just doing the old usual like a little puff of a fart shockwave and just doing arc damage, now rifts periodically release arc shockwaves, and final blows with these shockwaves create an arc explosion. And what's really nice is that if you've got an arc subclass on with this, that arc explosion will release subsequent shockwaves and explosions that blind nearby enemies, which honestly, this blinding effect is so dope for a number of reasons, but also you will get rift energy when you're kind of surrounded by targets as well. But the reason that blinding is really dope is because if you do pair with, of course, this electrostatic mind, defeating targets with arc abilities or defeating jolted blinded targets creates an ionic trace. And then when you collect that ionic trace, it makes you amplified. So obviously getting amplified is the main catalyst for a lot of the builds you can use with arc. So getting explosions and blinding from the Vesper Radius is really dope. And then obviously when you're amplified, you get better arc souls. Spark of Brilliance, so defeating blinding targets with precision damage creates a blinding explosion, another blinding explosion again. And then again with the electrostatic mind, getting this explosion going in with this gives you an ionic trace. And then when you look at the artifact too, there's tons for arc this season. So amped up, stay amplified longer. You have Thunder's Retort, which obviously isn't really anything to do with amped, but it's just nice in the arc class. You got the electric armor, which gain damage resistance while amplified. Again, dope in endgame builds. Then you have shock on all arc final blows while you are amplified. Summons a burst of lightning that damages and jolts enemies. Again, amplified, jolting enemies with arc final blows. And then when you on top of that pop this off with, of course, a freaking Trinity Ghoul or a Cold Dart, it really depends. Cold Dart's really dope for ionic traces. I understand people might use this, but I just love how Trinity Ghoul works. As I said, we'll drop a dim link, of course, below, so you can definitely like equip it yourself if you want. But this build should be really fun. It goes in real hard in PvE. So without further ado, let's go into some PvE with the Way of Thunder build. Alrighty, so we're going to be doing some PvE, of course, with our build. And we're going to just come in there real quick and explode all these. You'll see the arc pulse will be really nice. And there's the blinding effect you can kind of get going. And you can see amplified is just so easy to sort of get. And of course, PvE. And of course, I am using the Trinity Ghoul, because Trinity Ghoul is dope. So you can definitely spec into different things, but Trinity Ghoul, you can see my actual thing just actually did some damage there. So yeah, the freaking the rift will subsequently or just keep on like freaking like spamming the freaking shockwave out, which is really dope. So if it gets a kill, it will explode and everything. But the way I look at this build is that it's just a really nice kind of ad clear build. You can definitely just spam the freaking like, I don't know, rift out and things. Like if these are all going to spawn in like this, pop one rift, these should all just freaking die. Obviously this is sort of lower damage and everything, but even just killing one enemy will like legit make everything explode. And of course with all the different mods and everything we got this season, you can definitely keep the ad clear going so freaking hard. It's actually a really fun build to kind of go in with. Now we'll get these guys. As I said, it is a personal choice if you want to go in with probably Trinity Ghoul or, as I said, Cold Dart's just really good for ionic traces. So this build is kind of central around them. But we'll get this guy, and I don't have my rift for a sec. Oh, I'm so gonna freaking die. But there's the freaking blind. And obviously because I killed the blinded enemy and everything, I get amplified and whatnot. Honestly, this build, PvE wise, it can go in really freaking well. As I said, it's just really dope. And if I had utility kickstart as well, it could definitely go in a little bit harder in terms of getting my freaking rift back, because you can see I had a little bit of downtime considering I don't have as much target rich environment, and also utility isn't there to freaking just kick in like every 2 seconds. But as I said, the build all together, it's just super fun when you get it going. And you can see I got it on a trace there for this freaking Jolton. We'll just freaking rift it up. And look at all this juicy damage. I barely even have to shoot things. They just die in front of me. Oh, it's so freaking good sometimes. We get our arc soul to get the kill. There's our ionic trace. Buddy, where are you going? And there's our trace. We get some energy, and we also get our amplify back and everything. As I said, it's just an overall super dope build. Centrifuge is actually another one you can kind of get going. So when you're amplified with the catalyst, you can kind of keep that freaking thing going too. It is, as I said, personal preference of what arc weapon you want to go in with. Oh, look at all these mofos. We'll freaking rift it up, and he's blinded. And yo, buddy. As I said, the blinding effect is just so freaking good with all the extra stuff I get for killing blinded enemies as well, like the explosions and whatnot. But just in general, in terms of arc clear, and like obviously having like titans or not titans, freaking captains not spamming the teleports around the place, it just goes in really freaking hard. And oh my god, boys, no ghoul, don't freaking take them. I want to rift into them. No, buddy, don't do it. We rift and we kill the bot. Look at all the blinding effects and the explosions. Oh, it's just so freaking good, this build. Now, I will throw on, of course, the Cold Heart as well, just to kind of showcase this a little more. This is where it's going to be, like, you can see the blinding effect is going to be dope. But Cold Heart itself can be really dope in terms of just getting your ionic traces. But even so, you can see that the arc wave just constantly spamming while you sit there, like, on their spawn. He's getting so much free kills that we've got this thing going. We got our arc trace. You can definitely spam it out. As I said, if I had you kill the kickstart, I legit have my freaking rift back again, but we get it back now. And then he's going to die, and you get our trace. He's blinded. As I said, this whole build of vesper radius is honestly just really, really dope. Obviously, it is not situational, but you're going to obviously have the right freaking enemies right beside you and everything. But you can kind of see that when you have this going full damage, you get ionic traces. We have our rift back. We pop it again. And you can just do so much work with this build. As I said, the yellow bars doesn't really matter. Like, this thing's just getting constantly spammed by arc souls and everything. You get the amplified consistently going. As I said, this build altogether is just really, really dope. I'm stopping the trolls actually come from this side, so I'm actually doing my work. I'm doing God's freaking work, boys. We're doing God's freaking work here. And oh, I'm out of energy. And this is legit. We have one little thing left. If I had just one utility kickstart, my good God, are we just absolutely cooking with freaking diesel. Now, the thing is, as well, as I said, with Cold Heart, you can definitely spam out, I'd say, the Rift a little bit more often, because if you get this to a full charge and you kill an enemy, it will spawn a ton of course, what's it called? Ionic Traces and everything. So you can see, you can spawn your Ionic Traces super easily with, of course, the Cold Heart. So this is why a lot of Arc builds right now are using it, of course, because our Ionic Traces are just so much easier to get procced. You can see I have my energy back already. But I will definitely say Trinity Ghoul is still really fun. As I said, that Centrifuge can go in really, really well. It's just all about kind of getting your Rift back to kind of spam out to get the blinding. Like, you can see, we got our blinding back. And like, enemies just can't really do anything though. Of course, if they're blind, they're not going to attack you and everything. And then you can get your freaking Ionic Traces back. You're hitting blinded enemies, of course. You're getting that explosions and everything with the freaking shotgun and all that too with the Cold Heart. As I said, there's just so much kind of going for this build this season with the obvious seasonal mods. And I just think on arc artifacts as well. So even when the seasonal mods kind of go, I still think that this build is going to be pretty damn freaking solid, because as I said, shotgun all is nice, but this is mainly just building around the freaking arc build. As I said, it's just this vesper radius ever since I got the buff. It's just been so freaking good. You're going to see how much arc prop is just going off consistently. You're amplified pretty much 24/7. I don't think I haven't been amplified unless there was just no enemies around. So yeah, I would definitely say that you need to try out this build and everything. It's a ton of fun. As I said, I know people will be hitting me with, yeah, but endgame I actually use this because it's so much more viable. I'm not saying you have to go in endgame with this thing. I'm saying it will actually work out a little bit. In endgame for arc control, obviously people will be like Age of Scepter, freaking what's called Stasis Warlock would be better. It is personal preference for that as well, but I definitely will say that if you want to have some fun PvE, this is definitely a build to kind of go in with. It's just consistent freaking arc control, consistent damage, and you can honestly do so much freaking work with it. Because as I said, even against these big ass yellow bars, you just get freaking shredded, and then you get your Ionic Traces. You just get so much going for it. Shotgun all starts procking explosions. There is so much going for this freaking build in PvE. Alrighty, time for the final freaking boss time. We actually should be able to spam a rift out like this and get so many kills. And then he's blinded. We got our Ionic Trace and everything. As I said, the build itself, it just builds out so freaking well in terms of just consistency and also getting your rift back so freaking, like you can see I have my rift back already. So this is gonna get even better once we get that freaking thing going in terms of the utility kickstart. But as I said, just being able to blind enemies like pretty consistently, have them always blind, and then also getting the damage kind of going in as well. Like, you can legit pop a rift somewhere, legit leave it, and then just walk off somewhere else, pop another rift, because you get your energy back. This thing will just consistently just what's it called, proc the shockwave. So you can see I'm even blinding enemies and getting the explosions going. So there's so much going for this build in PvE right now. I would say people are sleeping on it. I just think people see the vesper radius. It's never really been meta, unless it's been breaking the freaking PvP arena. Other than that, it's never generally meta, but you can just see just one freaking rift can just annihilate a bunch of adds. So I never will say that when it comes to fun and PvE, just explosions and blinding and everything, this thing's an absolute freaking blast. As I said, with the amplified kind of going in with so much things, as I said, like the damage resist, the explosions, the better arc soul, it has so much going to get amplified. And then when you get arc ability kills too, I just can't pass up on how good this freaking thing can be. Now, boys, pop that so I can pop my rift here and kill all the enemies. Here we go. There's the 80 ad spawn, and then we just do this. Look at the logo. Oh, it's so good. And if you don't kill them, they basically just get freaking blinded. And you can see it goes again, and they're all blinded. So if you just stay here, Rift, and you know where they're all going to spawn, you just consistently get blinded. Like, you've seen all those ads just come in, just get insta blinded. It's so freaking good now. Might as well just pop our super, get him in the back. Can't really see his freaking ball sack, but we got it anyway. I said the Ionic Traces is legit. It's gonna be the greatest thing with this freaking arc soul or freaking thing. So you can see, even when you're fighting against bosses, that's why Cold Heart is really, really good, because you get so much Ionic Traces. But I definitely will say that when it comes down to it in terms of PvE, it's just personal preference as well. You can pop your rift on the boss too, and it will do work. But it is personal preference what you want to go in with as an arc weapon. I would definitely suggest though using one of like either Trinity Ghoul, Centrifuge, or of course the freaking cold art because obviously you want to be spamming out the rift and getting those ionic traces as much as you can. But I do tend to think that overall this freaking build, the way of Thunder, boys, freaking Tor would be freaking jealous that we have more mastery over Thunder or freaking Lightning than he freaking does. A bunch of enemies over here that we're gonna pop a rift. Look at them all blind. Oh, what if they get blinded? But you know what? We're in a freaking rift, so it doesn't even freaking matter. Oh my god, look at that. As I said, it's just like the perfect eye controller because there's nothing that can really stop it from just blasting them and blinding them. So they're just always just screwed. And when you have them all blinded, you get so many benefits for killing blinded enemies. So this whole build is just so much freaking fun. All right, boys, big ogre is down. Where the hell's the last dude? He's over here. We're gonna pop a rift actually on this dude. Yo, boys, don't kill him real quick. Pop a rift, and it will actually bind this sort of dude too. Now, obviously, against bosses, they'll still stomp and do the mechanics and everything because I don't think you can really full-on blind enemies, or freaking bosses. But you can see how much damage we're doing. The shock was just consistently going in. As I said, it's built all together. I'd 100% look again using it because it can do absolute work PvE. It's so much freaking fun to see how things explode as well. And I think overall, it's just the way of Thunder, boys. It is the true way of freaking Thunder. Well, that is it for me and the way of Thunder build itself. As I said, this build is just really, really fun to go in with. It's basically kind of centered around the Vesper radius, but it also is to do with just how synergistic I think Arc is right now in terms of all the different abilities you can use. I said subclass wise, this electrostatic mind, you can probably get this kind of going with vault shot and everything as well for jolting enemies, but just getting it for blinding enemies as well, it means you get those ionic traces going really, really consistently. And then when you have all the other abilities with the amplified and all that sort of stuff too, you can definitely wreck out with this build. Now, I do understand people when they're using the arc right now are definitely going in with the wrong way. They're definitely going in with this sort of build where you have the fallen sunstar. I don't have it actually, but if you have this freaking helmet, a lot of people are going in with this to get their abilities back faster and everything, to spam out grenades and whatnot. This is a nice build too with Cold Heart. As I said, this isn't just the only arc build, but I just think that generally speaking, when it comes to arc, this build is just super, super fun. It's great at eye control, and if you spam it out with like a Trinity Ghoul, as I said, the Cold Heart, there is multiple ways of using it, but it can be so much fun. You basically have amplified going the whole time. That arc soul's popping off. You have, of course, this freaking electrostatic mine going off, and then you have obviously the shock and awe with the arc final blows. That will, of course, explode enemies when you're amplified and everything, and then it's synergistic with the electrostatic mine because it's technically a jolt. Give you another ionic trace. There's just so much synergy with this whole freaking build. As I said, you can spec into it a little bit more in terms of mods or whatever if you want to put on, of course. I'd Reaper on. You could probably put on more distribution mods or different mods here. I said utility kickstart. I just need a bunch. Just one of these mods, and I want to have my rip back so freaking much more. It will just do so much freaking more PvE. So I definitely will say, try this build out. I'll leave a dim link below, of course, with everything I used today. But overall, the way Thunder build, so much fun PvE. But regardless, if you like the video, show us a like, and if you want some more content, subscribe, and fantastic day. And hopefully I'll see you in the next collective in the next one.